For the first time in history, Australia's official interest rate starts with a zero. The Reserve Bank today slashing rates to just 0.75%. The rate cut comes as four major capital cities finally saw some housing price growth, while Adelaide's market held firm.
Naught, nothing, a big fat duck egg. Call it what you will, but the Reserve Bank's official interest rate for the first time in history starts with a zero. 0.75%.
So the Reserve Bank Governor is making it very, very clear that the challenges in our economy are homegrown.
The 0.25% rate cut came as capital city home prices had their best month in almost 2 years.
So the interest rate cuts have contributed to a stabilisation in the housing market, which we welcome.
For those with a $400,000 mortgage, the full rate cut is worth $57 a month, and that's on top of two previous cuts in June and July. First home buyers Anthony Cashman and Chloe Gorman say it's a chance they can't afford to miss out on.
When we looked at how much we would be paying in rent versus then owning a place like this, it ended up being pretty much the same.
The house price growth came from four capital cities, Brisbane, Canberra, but most significantly, Sydney and Melbourne.
Both cities have seen values rise by nearly 4% since the market bottomed out back in May.
But that growth and a big uptick in consumer confidence last week raised questions about whether another rate cut is needed right now.
There's certainly a risk here that the Reserve Bank is running out of interest rate bullets, and we've seen in other countries that can be a problem.
Meantime, in Perth and Darwin, they definitely need the relief. Home values are still falling heavily.
Stronger housing prices should see a return of the wealth effect. We should see households feeling more willing to spend.
The Reserve Bank today said it sees an upturn in our economy, but still wants to support employment and income growth. In other words, jobs and wages.
The Reserve Bank is certainly trying to leave nothing to chance here. It wants to be sure.
So which banks will pass on the rate cut? Nine's finance editor Ross Greenwood has the details.
Well, of course, the big story is whether the banks would pass these rate cuts on in full. And the latest I can tell you that's just happening as we go to air is Australia's biggest home lender, the Commonwealth Bank, will not pass on the full interest rate cut. In fact, it will barely pass on half of it to those people with standard owner-occupier loans. The bank's just told me that it will only pass on 0.13% of the 0.25% cut from the Reserve Bank today. And as a result of this, many of those homeowners will be disappointed. It means they won't have as much money in their pockets. Now it's time for the other banks to come forward and say what they will do in response to this move, historic move from the Reserve Bank.